Hello. On the occasion of the commemoration of the 104th anniversary of the Battle of Carabobo and the Day of the Bolivarian Army, President Nicolas Maduro addressed the people to mark the day and reiterated his call for world peace. Let's listen. Wicked compatriots, glorious army of the Bolivarian Revolution, of the army of the Venezuelan liberator of Venezuela, noble people of our republic. Today, we are commemorating 204 years of the magnificent victory of the Battle of Carabobo, the most bright of a military campaign that surprised the world on the day of our army, Bolivarian Army. This is not a simple date for us. If we understand the importance that had and has this theme, heroic feat for our history, the history of our homeland, Carabobo is the point of no return of our history. Unstoppable history is the instant in which we stopped being a colony from a foreign empire, and we dare to be a republic united. That day, our sovereignty was burned. Carabobo triumphed the idea of the great Colombia, and from that strength comes our existence as a nation, with a right to draft its own destiny. We came from nothing, and in 1810, that night, April 19th, we were barely a shut out of freedom, of hope. We were no republic, we were not a state, we weren't a people, we had no army. 11 years later, we grew up, we defeated the colonialist empire of Spain. We were an army, we were a people, we were a newborn state, and we were defeating the army, most powerful army of the planet Earth. They had their military priority, and Bolivar next to the Catirepáes and Negro Primero, and those shirtless and bare feet on the ground, they built a popular army. That army freed Margarita, all the West, all the East. They were to release our Guyana, including our Guyana Esequiba, and they founded the ongoing homeland, victorious homeland, and today, from this victory that is very much alive and beats on our hearts, the heart of a homeland that is growing constantly, we can say liberators and women liberator. We are standing still on foot, and we are triumphing. The victory of June 24th of 1821 wasn't just an act of war, it was an act of national unity. Bolivar achieved to gather the strength of indigenous peoples, Afro-descendants, farmers, to the white men, plus united under the same flag, yellow, red, and blue. It was no army, oligarchic army, aristocratic army. It was solely popular and crossed mixture and liberator. It was forged on horse and on foot with their own tactics and beliefs. This was the most profound revolution was the cultural. Carabobo is our spiritual theme. In Carabobo, Hernán Cortés died. That unity was born from a political ethic that promulgated the equality, social equality above all. Bolivar was not just a leader, political leader, he was also a moral leader, continental leader, defender of the right to self-determination without imperialist mandates. Carabobo, since then, is not just from Venezuela, it's from all of our America, Latin America, Caribbean America. There, it was the beginning of the end of the Spanish Empire and the newborn of the great homeland. According to Bolivar, in that moment, the Carabobo triumph was the triumph of the arms of Colombia, that great homeland that is calling from the future with the voice of a hopeful people. But the struggle hasn't stopped here. Today, that struggle continues. We are facing new domination forces, criminal sanctions, blockades, psychological warfares, hybrid warfares, and in the face of our eyes, the threat of a world war there. That is why Carabobo is a mirror from the present, and the answer is the same one: unity, clarity, courage, and trust in our people. Our Bolivarian armed forces is not an apparatus, is a conscience, a life conscience. Its doctrine is Bolivarian, popular, defender of the homeland. In each soldier, in each militiaman, Carabobo is still very fresh and alive. If something Venezuela needs is that its youth receives that legacy, not with nostalgia, but audacity. Being a youth, man and women, is to be a protagonist of the new Carabobo, is to organize, is to build community, is to reject any type of individualism. The struggle is won by values, ideas, and loyalty to the homeland. You youth are the new spinal of the independence of the 21st century. Carabobo opens the path that will reach until Ayacucho, that it will reach until the foundation of the great Colombia, and the idea that our Latin America march in a single power block, very much united, and the dream of Bolivar is unfulfilled, it is on the making, and is victorious in these new historical times. Venezuela is the great bastion of resistance of the Bolivar's dreams, and even when many betray him, we remain firm. 1 year before Carabobo, Santa Anna, Trujillo, Bolivar, and Murillo signed the first modern treaty of the international law, humanitarian law, and I'm naming it a true deal, sacred deal. There it was born the idea of a world of principles and respect and humanity. Today, when Zionism is threatening Syria, Palestine, Lebanon, Iraq, Yemen, and the Islamic Republic of Iran, when Zionism is upgrading the countries of the world, the peoples of the world, Venezuela from Carabobo, victorious Carabobo, is called for an international summit for the craziness and madness of Hitler and fascism that destroyed a great part of humanity do not repeat again. We ask for respect of the self-determinations of the peoples. We demand respect for the public and international respect. We demand respect for the right of the peace of the peoples, and demand the end of all imperialist wars and the defense of the self to life as the most sacred right that our peoples have. No more adventures, Nazi fascism adventures that threat the entire planet. Today, on the day of our glorious army, Bolivarian Army, in which I want to congratulate, and we say in one single voice that no one made a mistake with Venezuela. We are the same of yesterday. We are Carabobo, very alive. We are Bolivar. We are Negro Primero. But 2 centuries later, we are wiser and more united and more free and more ours. We came from Carabobo, and as long as Carabobo is alive, Venezuela will be an example of freedom, of justice, and rebelliousness. Here in Carabobo we say, long live to the spirit of our liberators, long live to the immortal fire that lights us, long live to the great homeland of Bolivar, long live to the army of the Bolivarian Army of the people of Venezuela, long live Carabobo forever. We will prevail. And we were listening to President Nicolas Maduro as he reiterated his call for world peace during the commemoration of the 204th anniversary of the Battle of Carabobo and the Day of the Bolivarian Army. This is all for the moment, but stay tuned with teleSUR English for more.